Hi, I'm Christian Belwell. I'm the Vice Chair of the Recreation Committee. I'm also a Precinct 7 Town Meeting member. I'd like to present for you Article 10I, a request for appropriation for Lincoln Park field improvements, including lighting. The Recreation Committee, in collaboration with the Recreation and Community Programs Department, requests an appropriation of $3,391,500, of which $2,475,000 is requested from CPA funds and $916,500 is requested from cash capital and tax levy to complete a project at Lincoln Park comprising the end-of-life renovation of the synthetic turf field at Lincoln Field Number 1 and the concomitant installation of athletic lighting at Field Number 1 and Field Number 3. On the advice of the Community Preservation Committee, Town Council, the Town Manager, and the Finance Department, the carpet of an artificial turf system is not eligible for CPA funding, which is why the funding request for this project is split between CPA funds and non-CPA funds, specifically free cash and tax levy. This type of split funding approach has been used for similar athletic field projects, including Center Track Field in 2020, Lincoln Field Number 3 renovation in 2016, Lincoln Field Number 2 renovation in 2015, and Lincoln Field Number 1 renovation also in 2015. This table shows the estimated project costs, which are $45,000 for design and engineering, $51,500 for project management, $652,500 for construction, $1,226,000 for the athletic lighting equipment for 2 fields, and a 14% contingency adding to $500,000 for a subtotal requested from CPA funds of $2,475,000. In addition, the turf carpet portion of a synthetic turf system is estimated at $916,500, and that appropriation is being requested as $216,500 from free cash and $700,000 from the tax levy per the request of the town manager and the finance department, for a total estimated project cost of $3,391,500. The rationale for this project: first, Lincoln Field Number 1 was renovated in 2015 with an expected lifespan of 8 to 10 years, indicating end-of-life replacement between 2023 and 2025. Our annual safety testing has indicated that the field is due for replacement in 2024. Second, Lexington currently operates at a substantial deficiency in available rectangle field hours relative to the demand in the community, and the anticipated Lexington High School building project is projected to make the problem acutely worse from approximately 2026 to 2030. This project is part of the proactive steps we're taking now to partially mitigate this impending loss of fields. In 2019, Recreation was asked to formally quantify athletic field needs in Lexington, and funding was approved at 2020 annual town meeting to hire an external consultant to conduct a comprehensive analysis of field supply and demand. In 2022, Weston and Sampson provided the results of their comprehensive analysis, including documentation of field demand, field supply, and options to address the supply deficiencies they identified. If you'd like to read the complete report, it is available on the Recreation and Community Programs Department website under Capital Projects, under the Master Planning and Assessment tab. The study evaluated all athletic sites in Lexington, including an effective rectangle field inventory of 15 natural grass rectangle fields and 4 synthetic turf rectangle fields. According to the study, this field inventory can optimally support 21,600 hours of use per year, but currently we're using it for 27,700 hours per year due to the overwhelming demand for field space and our best efforts to meet that demand. In conclusion, the study found that Lexington operates at a field deficit equivalent to 8 large rectangle fields. This deficit is projected to get worse. The LHS building project laydown area is currently anticipated to impact most fields at the Center Recreation Complex from approximately 2026 to 2030. The yellow hashed marks in this satellite photo show the anticipated field closures, which will include the varsity softball field, the varsity baseball field, the Harold Crum football field, the junior varsity baseball field, the Worthen Road practice field, and the Fitzgerald Little League baseball field. In addition to the obvious impact of these closures on softball and baseball, it's worth noting for the point of this presentation that the outfields of those fields are used for significant rectangle field hours in the baseball and softball off seasons. These center recreation complex field closures will make the existing rectangle field deficit worse by eliminating a large number of rectangle field hours and will profoundly impact the operations of all current field users. We must ensure the optimal use of the fields at Lincoln Park to at least partially mitigate this addition to the existing rectangle field deficit. To optimize the use of Lincoln Field and partially mitigate the additional field deficit during the anticipated LHS project, we are proposing in fiscal year 2024, the projects to be appropriated under Article 10I, which are renovation of the synthetic turf at Lincoln Field number 1, which was last renovated in 2015, and the installation of athletic lighting at Lincoln Field number 1 and Field number 3. In fiscal year 25, we anticipate requesting funding to complete the end-of-life synthetic turf renovation at Lincoln Field number 2, which was last renovated in 2015. And in fiscal year 26, we anticipate requesting appropriation to renovate the synthetic turf at Lincoln Field number 3, which was last renovated in 2016. In considering athletic field renovations, the Recreation Committee and the Recreation Community Programs Department seek to find a balance between multiple factors. And to that end, we've been collaborating with a working group comprising town staff from Conservation, Health, Department of Public Works, and Sustainability, as well as representatives from the Sustainable Lexington Committee and the Board of Health. The core parameters we're considering include athletic operations and variables such as weather resistance, surface stability or footing, and durability, all of which add up to the available hours of use. Environmental health, what is the impact on the waste stream, on any potential surrounding wetlands, on sustainability in general? Human health, how can we mitigate the potential presence of heavy metals or PFAS? Are there possible allergens? But also, are we providing local fitness options for our residents? Fiscal impact, what's the cost of the installation? What's the cost of maintenance? Is there available staffing? Is there available equipment? All of which we find is most helpfully considered in terms of what's the overall cost per hour of use. And then there are site-specific factors to consider, most notably here at Lincoln Park, which is a park built on a landfill cap, which comes with very special circumstances. And finally, how does the proposed project fit into the overall town field inventory? Is it helping reduce our field deficiency? Is it helping with our balance of grass and turf fields? After evaluating these considerations, we believe that replacement in kind of the synthetic turf field system that's currently at Lincoln Park provides the best balance across these various parameters. We believe it will maximize the hours of use for athletic operations in our challenging New England weather conditions. We believe by requiring our bid to include that the materials will be PFAS-free and will meet all US EPA and Mass DEP health standards will contribute to improving environmental health. Further, as recyclability of synthetic turf systems improves, we will continue requiring recyclability to the best that can be done. Human health, again, by requiring our bidders to include certification that the materials will be PFAS-free and will meet all US and Massachusetts health standards. Fiscal impact, we believe this minimizes the cost per hour of use and that maintenance of this type of field system fits within the existing DPW budget and staffing. Finally, with site-specific factors, as I mentioned, Lincoln Field sits on top of an old landfill cap, And really, a synthetic turf system is the only feasible field system that can be installed and can perform well in that scenario. And finally, we believe that it's important to maintain a small number of turf fields in our inventory because they actually help support the use of grass fields by offloading much of the demand onto the turf fields. As I mentioned, the project bid will require the bidder to certify and document by independent laboratory testing that the synthetic turf system materials in the project are PFAS-free, according to the US EPA Method 537 and California Proposition 65 definition of PFAS, and per defined analytical test maxima that will be specifically enumerated in the bid request. The system materials will have to be certified to be under all heavy metal safety maximums as defined by US and Massachusetts, including must have lead content that falls under the most stringent US Consumer Product Safety Council threshold, which is that is used for permissible amounts of lead in children's toys. The materials will need to be under PAH or polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon safety maxima as defined by the US EPA and Mass DEP. And of course, it must meet criteria for athletic safety and playability, including industry standard measurements of Gmax shock load, head injury criteria, and vertical deformation. And finally, the bid will require that the successful bidder commits to reusing on site to the greatest extent possible all materials. And for those materials that cannot be used on site, will require a documented chain of custody that provides for the disposition of those materials. The installation of athletic lighting at Lincoln Fields number 1 and number 3 is a top recommendation of the aforementioned 2022 Weston and Sampson Athletic Fields feasibility study to most efficiently increase available rectangle field hours. And we believe it is also critical to at least partially offset the impact of the potential LHS-associated closures. Temporary athletic lighting has been used at Lincoln Field number 2 since 2014, and permanent athletic lighting was installed on field number 2 through private philanthropy in 2017. The field number 1 and field number 3 lights that we're proposing will be installed following the same Massachusetts DEP permitting process to ensure compliant installation in the context of the capped landfill. The installation of athletic lighting at fields number 1 and number 3 is the most efficient option for increasing available field hours and offsetting field closures at Center Rec Complex. The athletic lighting being proposed at field number 1 and field number 3 will consist of 4 light poles per field, the approximate locations of which are shown in this satellite photo by the yellow dots, and they will be similar to and at a height consistent with those that are already on field number 2. The high-efficiency LED lighting system will be designed to meet the International Dark Sky Association requirements for athletic lighting and to reduce light pollution in the environment. The system operations will include multiple power settings to tailor light use to the activity and will be controlled, including remotely, by the Recreation Department. The LED lighting system will be designed to minimize light spillover beyond the athletic field surface. The design is anticipated to minimize spillover light to 0.7 foot candles, which is less than the light generated by a street light, at 20 feet from the field surface, and spillover to be 0 by 100 feet from the field. The photo at right is of the Lexington Center 1 and Center 2 fields, which use a similar LED athletic lighting system. This overall project is consistent with the findings of the 2020 Community Needs Assessment, the 2022 Comprehensive Study of Athletic and Outdoor Recreation Facilities, and the feedback to the committee and department from the Lexington Sports Advisory Council. The anticipated renovation of field number 1 has appeared annually in the Recreation 5-year capital plan for the past 4 years, and as such has been included and discussed for multiple years in the annual town budget review process with the town manager and finance department, capital expenditures committee, appropriation committee, and select board, and in this funding request year with the community preservation committee. This project has been the subject of 2 special Recreation Committee meetings on February 1st of this year and March 1st. These meetings were advertised by direct U.S. mail to all addresses within 500 feet of the project, by town electronic communications, by advertisement to the electronic TMMA listserv, and by placement of a physical advertising sandwich board at Lincoln Park. The existing deficit in available field hours and the anticipated exacerbation of that deficit during an LHS building project highlight the need to optimize management of the synthetic turf athletic fields at Lincoln Park. The timely renovation of the synthetic turf at the fields, field number 1 in this fiscal year 2024, and the addition of athletic lighting will help reduce the existing field availability deficit and will at least partially mitigate the effect of the LHS building associated closures. The replacement of the current synthetic turf system with a synthetic turf system that is certified PFAS-free and meets all federal and state regulations represents a reasonable balance of the many compelling factors involved in the renovation of athletic fields at Lincoln Park. The completion of this project alone won't solve the field deficit in Lexington, but it will help reduce the deficit, and it will also be a proactive step to reducing the impact of LHS-associated closures. Further, we believe that this project is critical to optimize the use of this incredible recreational resource that has been reclaimed from a former dump site through long-standing effort and investment, and to continue to support the thousands of Lexington athletes that depend on rectangle fields to play their sports. We ask for your continued support of these core athletic facilities at Lincoln Park and hope you will vote in favor of Article 10I. Thank you.